What are we? What makes us what we are? And what we're going to be? I think it's that right there. It's grit.
And we're back. How we feeling, boys? 12-1 on this Monday evening.
That's good.
Beat them Packers, boys.
Blue cheese in the house. Do you guys see that?
Shredded.
Woo! I am your humble host, Caleb, in on another pod. Adrian, the man behind the drops, the offensive coordinator, if you will. We got Clay, the statistician, ready to go with all the stats that you can even fit in your brain. And we have a... Wait a second. Let me check my eyes. If my eyes don't deceive me, we have Emmanuel Mosley with us today, boys and girls. Let's go! Ivan Labra, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, when Dave Plaxico can't make it, you can always fill in for him.
Yeah, when Brian Branch is out, we bring in Emmanuel Mosley. So,
speaking of Emmanuel Mosley, what's the latest with him? Anybody got anything?
So I was just listening today that they've been really precautious with him.
Yeah,
but he is not on IR. He's practicing every week, so they're really, really positive that he'll be able to play this Sunday against the Bills. Obviously, not starting, but to get some meaningful snaps here and there to get him going.
For sure. That's we need him.
Mm-hmm.
We got a quarterback that likes to throw a lot coming in on Sunday. So, welcome to the All Grit Podcast. We have one quick sponsor before we get into a special announcement. So, we'll go ahead and roll that.
Yeah. So are you looking for your next car but unsure where to start? Book a no-pressure chat with Eden, and she'll answer your questions, tailor advice to your needs, and save you time by cutting through any noise. So contact her to start your car buying journey that's simple and stress-free. To contact her, go to calendly.com/Eden Labra, where you can make an appointment, whether it's a consultation meeting, which is no pressure, no commitment. Just talk about how you want to sell your car or getting into a new one. Or you can make a ready-to-drive appointment if you're serious about buying to test drive cars. That's calendly.com/Eden Labra.
Let's go. Also, get all the business out of the way right now. Recently, the All Grit Podcast has purchased a new subscription for the podcast through our StreamYard account. So what does that mean for our listeners? That means that we are no longer held down to the 30-minute podcast. That means we can have more guests on, like we had Miss Jen the other day. We had AG. If you want to be a special guest on the pod, holler at us. We'll get you on. We'll interview you. If you have some questions for us, always remember SpeakPipe is available. And texting through Instagram services to the All Grit Podcast on Instagram. That also gets you in. So we're trying to raise, since we bought this new thing, we're trying to raise about $216. That's it. What's $216? Clay, what's $216 to you?
Nothing.
That's exactly,
bro.
Hey, Emmanuel Mosley, what's $216 to you?
Probably my gas money for like 3 months right there.
3 months, maybe like a week and a half in this economy.
Yeah.
$216. I can't go to Costco and not spend $216. So let's all chip in and help us out. This will help us pump out more episodes, and we can all get supported by that. So we're gonna have a running tally started today. We have $0 on the board. Let's see how fast we can get to $216 from our listeners. Let's go. Come on, you got to know when the drop is, man.
Here we go.
All right. Let's get into it, boys. Lions, Packers. First topic. We're going to go there. We have to. We were talking about it a little bit pre-game here. So we're gonna get into talking about these zebras. Clay, you were at the game. You were at the game, Clay. Did you see all these zebras giving all the penalties to the Packers and none to the Detroit Lions?
It's ridiculous because there was so many big plays that got stopped because we got penalties called on us. Whether it be the biggest play of the game was interception in the end zone, crowd was going wild, and then flag is dropped, came out of nowhere. But hey, he wasn't looking at the ball, so pass interference or whatever. But biggest play of the game, which led to Packers getting 6 or 7 eventually. Right. So and you're saying that we're getting all the calls. You literally got 7 points off of could be on a 14-point swing. So Lions get a touchdown that drive, and it's a completely different game. So they got the call of the game. So I don't know what they're complaining about.
Yeah.
And especially the holding call on the last drive.
Yeah, a lot of all I see on social media, man, is the Packers complaining that this game was bought, that it's a travesty, it's terrible, that the NFL needs to do something about refereeing. But honestly, they're just crying, and I know why they're crying, because that used to be us. We used to blame the refs when we lost because of, maybe there was one call that was against the Lions, but really our team wasn't good, and that's why we would lose, because of the refs. Now, in this game, I don't think that the Packers lost because of the refs. They lost because they were not the better team.
Right.
They let us convert 4 out of 5 fourth down conversions, and we just ran the clock out. The time of possession was 36 minutes Lions, 22 minutes Packers. What does that tell you? Right there. Yep. And then if we look at the calls that were actually placed, 7 against the Lions, 7 against the Packers. Yep. So 7 flags or 7 flags, it was pretty even. So we can point out so many different details and small calls that we disagree with that were called against us that did make a difference during the game. But at the end of the day, we ran out the clock and it didn't make a difference. That's my rant.
No, bro. I'm just let it all out. Ivan, yep. You got any thoughts on that, on the zebras?
No, it was pretty just experiencing the game. I was a little bit nervous, but I knew we were a better team. It was totally shown by how at the end, we converted that last down. But I really wasn't really thinking about the zebras. But at past the game, day later, it was kind of annoying just to hear about these Packers fans. Even I have a close friend talking about how this game was mattered on flags, and I was just like, I don't think so, really.
Yeah.
And
here's how you know it's just Packers fans. You listen to, I don't know what podcast you guys listen to, but I highly suggest on your free time and those listening, go to Locked On Packers. So we listen to Matt Derry with the Locked On Lions. Go to Locked On Packers. His name is Peter Bukowski. And go to the game immediately following the Packers Lions. Dude,
I heard it.
Dude rants like a little cry baby.
Oh, man.
And he goes, I hate to do this. I hate to do this. This is the last thing I want to do is go down this road. But the Packers got cheated by the referees. We were good enough to beat the Detroit Lions, but we're not good enough to beat the Detroit Lions and the referees. That's literally his quote, bro.
That's hilarious, man.
And
so he's not going to bring up the faint. He's not going to bring the faint Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary with the faint face mask. He's not going to call the illegal hands to the face. He's not going to bring any of that up.
That's right.
And shout out to Ryan, who last week he had a bad bold take, but he brought up that face mask by Rodgers. They know it was a fake face mask. So come on now.
And we thought it was Trey Flowers. It was not. It was Taylor. Do you guys remember a defensive end that happened to be playing? What's his first name?
I forgot his name too.
Yeah,
Jonathan Taylor.
No, that's the running back.
Yeah, I thought that sounded good.
Not Jonathan Taylor.
No, that was anyhow. Anyhow, that was what we were talking about with Ryan the other day. But yeah, man, it's just And then he actually says, I want you guys to listen to that podcast. He actually said that the decision that Dan Campbell made, so we can kind of switch topics over to coaching at this point if you want to switch it.
Yeah.
The fact that now Peter Bukowski, Locked On Packers host, is talking about how Dan Campbell was absolutely stupid for going for that on that last fourth down. He said it was the wrong call to make. He said it was absolutely horrific. Absolutely.
We didn't win.
He's down talking the play that just beat his team.
That's horrible, man. He's just in denial.
Salty, bro.
When a person does that, that's just denial. And you know what? If there's any Packers fans listening to this podcast, it only makes our win that much sweeter when they're whining, when your big, podcast people are just whining and crying, including Tom Grossi. He was crying too.
Yeah. Packer fans, if you are listening, we got that for you. We just swept you. We swept you. And we're hopefully going to sweep the Bears here in a couple weeks, and we'll hopefully sweep I don't know. We'll see about the Vikings game at the end of the year, but yeah.
If anybody's coach looked bad, it was Matt LaFleur, man. He looked distraught. He was in
let
his head.
a Lions fan get underneath the skin.
Let's get into that. Yeah. Let's get into it. So some flag. He was jabbing and talking with some fan that, was talking about the teammates and everything. And LaFleur, man, they had to hold that dude back from getting in a fight with a dude holding the American flag.
Like, come on, dude.
Like, okay, the guy shouldn't have been talking, but I like that. Matt Luzier. Yeah. Could you see Dan Campbell doing that with a fan in Lambeau?
No, dude. Like in every stadium, there's always going to be crazy fans. Like obviously that fan was being crazy. He was out of place. But that happens every stadium, every game. There's a crazy drunk guy or whoever that's just, bantering stuff at the players, at the coaches. That's part of the game you have to ignore as a professional. Like it's your job to ignore it. And he got into it, man. You could see it all over social media. I think Pat McAfee put it out there. And Matt LaFleur lost his cool, and I think I actually think that made a difference the first half.
It got into his head. Yeah, it got into his head. He did it. He definitely he crashed out at the beginning of the game, so it was pretty funny. No, but honestly, it doesn't look good for the fan, but I still kind of agree because it's a competition, and any way you can distract somebody to get out of their comfort zone is just the best. A couple years ago was like 2019. I was at a Seahawks game here at Ford Field. I was talking to Pete Carroll, just saying stuff to him. He was just ignoring me and just having smirking. It was me, Adrian, and Jeff. I think remember the game. So
that's pretty much what every NFL coach deals with. It's like you get the boo birds, dude. You get
like a requirement on your interview.
Yeah. So I'm going to go out. I hate to say this is a bold take already, but I'm going to go out and say this, and I want your guys' input on it. Michigan, Ohio State. Ryan Day has a problem with Michigan. What? Right? He literally has a problem with it. He should have won that game, but he chose, I want to be tougher to show them that I'm tough, so I'm going to run when he had wide receivers wide open, right, against our defensive back.
Yep.
So there's a problem with Ryan Day versus Michigan. Guys, breaking news, there's a problem with LaFleur and our Detroit Lions.
And Dan Campbell.
We're in his head. Dan Campbell. In his head, man.
Game when last game of the season where we knocked Packers out of the playoffs, we already been knocked out earlier that afternoon.
That was it.
That was so big for the future of our team in so many ways, and one of that was versus the Packers. We planted. I think that day a seed got planted in the brain, and it's growing with every game that we play them.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the fans will deny it. The fans are still thinking we're the same old Lions. That we'll get you next game. Like, dude, this is different, man. Wake up. It's different.
You're right. That's a good call, Clay. I don't think maybe Packers fans or fans outside of Detroit have just admitted and realized that we're an elite team. We're not that team anymore. that they still have in their heads. And that's why they're complaining and crying, because they can't accept the fact they think they lost to a bad team or, to a bad
Right.
franchise, but it's
A
not
fake
it anymore.
franchise,
It's just, you just lost to a good team. Like, kudos to the Packers for playing us like that. They played well.
Yeah, I think they played excellent. I think we got a great punch by Green Bay, and we survived it. Like, I think it was a great game. I think, honestly, a couple things Packers do differently. I think I don't know why they stopped running the ball, but they did. So, thank you. But
Yeah, I don't know what happened on that last drive where they made a field goal instead of a touchdown. Their play calls went.
I'll tell you what happened. Some guy named Zeke Turner happened. The dude that, we still don't even have the background story on this guy, but we need to get it.
Yeah.
What are you pulling up here?
Just on the box score.
He had the highest PFF grade too of that game out of any Lions
Are you
player.
serious?
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over
and he
Campbell?
did not grab the collar, man. He just
And
Yeah,
that,
It's
by the
almost like he
arm.
grabbed his neck and just like
Yeah,
stuffed
yeah.
it in the turf.
that was beautiful.
give me a hug, man.
Open
Come on.
field too. It's an open field tackle,
Yeah.
and this
Bro, I
dude.
thought-
And Love
Sorry, I
had
was
somebody in the end zone too, and Love had a guy in the end zone too, and he messed
what
it
I
up
heard.
for him.
Yeah,
That's
he
what I
couldn't
heard.
get it to him because he already had Turner draped on him. He was still standing, but he was draped on him, so he couldn't get a throw off. But I was just going to point out in the box score, boys, that our defense had 7 QB hits with guys off the street versus the Packers only had 3 QB hits. We both had 1 sack, but we had 7 QB hits. And it's not like it was all Zadarius. He had 1. But people like, who is Jonah Williams? Who is Ezekiel Turner? Who is Miles Adams? Muhammad, like all these dudes, man. Aaron Glenn, man, he is in. He's gonna get a head coaching job, dude. Like he's doing so much with nothing. It's
He should
crazy.
get and he might get the assistant coach of the year especially with the
Yep.
defense suffering like that.
Yep.
All right, so listen, I want to ask the person that was at the game this. We can all have different answers, but here we go. Clay, do you agree or disagree with the 4th down calls by Dan Campbell?
I do, and I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I think you're in the middle of a shootout. You're in the middle of a shootout, and you know you're going to be in a shootout for the rest of the game. And your defense is tired. And so I think it's all about game management and how long you can keep your players in the game. And I think if you go 4 on 4th, even it's your own 30, and you get the first down, you get it, you're a hero. But if you don't get it, Packers are going to, whether you punt the ball or not, the Packers are going to get 7 points on you. So let them get 7 points.
Come on, Clay. You got the punt god. Stop it.
But I say they get 7 points. So just give them the 7 points without tiring your defense. Like, all right, cool. All right, cool. Take
Oh
the
my
7 points. We're going to go back down. So
Do we
And
have
I
a
think-
slappy drop? Can we get a slappy drop?
Well, let
So
me
I
hear
think
you,
it's a-
Caleb. What's your point? What do you think about it?
Okay. Well, Clay he was happy with every single 4th down. I know. Look at him smiling. He loves it. I was happy with every one of them but one. And I listened to my boy Mike Valenti today, and he agrees exactly with what I said. It was absolutely nonsense. You're up on the scoreboard to go for it on 4th and whatever it was on your own 29, 30-yard line. Jack Fox, the punt god, can kick it down and flip fields and put you on the 5-yard line. You're up. If you're down, it's a different story. And that's what I do appreciate about Dan Campbell is the game situation kind of carves the way in which he's going to go.
Yeah.
And that goes into show on the last 4th down. He knew, analytics actually said kick the ball. But for the coach to take analytics out of it and say, no, I got Zeke Turner as a cornerback, as a linebacker. I got Miles Adams. I got these guys that we picked off the street. I'm not putting my defense back on the field. I'm going to go for it on 4th. We're going to pick up the yard, and I'm going to kick a field goal and win the game. That was beautiful.
it
mean,
was great.
It literally is upsetting the nation right now and all of its talking heads because he's out doing what other teams don't
He's
do.
changing the game.
changing
They're
the
mad
ball.
because he's
What did
changing the game. They
Ramsey
think it isn't fair. Yeah, they think it's not fair for him to go on fourth down
For
like
them
that.
to think it's not fair is for me to say, you stop them.
Mhm.
Exactly, thank
defense.
you.
Stop them.
Then
And that's
stop
why.
them.
And Rams
So-
did the same thing yesterday. They put out the Bills by going on a fourth down
Yep.
Yeah.
and,
And they're
just
doing that.
milking the clock down.
You have to keep the ball.
Yep.
Like, especially with Josh Allen, you have to keep the ball away from him.
And
So
you
you
kick
know,
the
fourth-
field goal. You still have 43 seconds left. They have plenty of time to go down there with our depleted defense and get 3. So he's just like, all right, let me just end the game on our terms, man.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is I want him to be aggressive, but I don't want him to be stupid. And
Yeah.
I felt like the other 3, or the other, he went 4 out of 5, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 2 of those
You
times
agreed
were
on all
actually
the other
touchdowns.
ones?
I agreed with every single one. Yes. But
So
that
are
one-
you thinking
So-
like the 50-yard line and beyond? You know, it's 4th and 2, 4th and
Normally,
1, go for it?
normally, yes. And I will stand by that. However, situationally does trump that, right? I mean, if we're down,
sure.
if we're down 10, I'm not
I mean,
gonna
just
punt
think
when we're on the 50.
situationally the rest of the season, you don't have your defense back. You still have Miles Adams, Zeke Turner back
Absolutely.
there. So you're going on fourth down from the 50 and beyond.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right, we agree.
Unless we can get into Jake Bates territory,
Right.
kicking God over here.
Man, clutch
Goes
city, man.
goes perfect again this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Whatever. I
agree with
knew
you, but
when Clay called me at the game, he goes, "Bro, I agree with every fourth down." I'm like, "No, Clay, no."
that's the thing, though. You have to understand the mentality behind it. That is our strength. We
Yep.
don't play 3 downs. We have 4th down. We have 4
We have
downs.
4
to
downs,
play.
get 10 yards, and that's our mentality. Yeah, 4
Exactly.
downs,
That's how we
get 10
play
yards.
it. And I forgot who explained it on a major network. That actually was a really good point. Is that when you make this rapport and have this reputation where you're going out on 4th downs, like the Lions, on that 4th down, you have every single advantage against that defense. Because if that defensive end jumps, that's a free 5 yards first down. So they can't jump, and they know that. So they are playing on the balls of their feet. They're waiting to react. They're waiting half a second as soon as you pitch the ball. So you have half a second in that situation specifically. So you already have an advantage, and they are scared on 4th down as well, and it's demoralizing to the defense. So you have every single advantage on those 4th downs. That being said, I do agree with you, Caleb, on our own 30. I think it was a little too much to risk there. I actually would have liked a fake punt. I would have liked a fake play on there.
That'd been cool.
I think they would have saw it coming, but I would tend to agree with that. I would have done that. You mentioned earlier he's changing the game, and I've heard that on Valenti today. He's changing the game. I want to ask you guys a question. He's changing the game and making defenses say we no longer are happy when we stop them on 3rd down, because if it's 4th and under 5, the Lions are probably going to go for it depending on the field. Changing the game. Do you remember when Steph Curry entered the NBA and how they started winning because their team just decided we're just going to shoot threes? And Harden kind of was the same way. And they changed basketball. And so much so that where people now, if you watch basketball, it's 3 cities. I mean, it's changed. It's no longer feed the man in the post and
Yep.
score twos. Is Campbell doing the same thing? Is this the preliminary effect of you want to see more scoring in the NFL? We're going to go for it on 4th down because the odds say if we can get 4 more possessions in a game, we are going to win.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah, he
changing
doesn't go on those 4th downs. We don't win that game because we got 2 touchdowns out of it, like Ivan was saying.
Yep.
But not every team can do that. You need a good offensive line at the very least. That's the start. You need a good offensive line. Like the Bears just can't all of a sudden start going on 4th down. It's not going to work.
And that's what I think. What this great point, Adrian, is our offensive line won that game. Like it wins games. Like it's insane how great our offensive line is, especially when when you're not playing on Sunday and you can just focus on other teams and just watch other games. It's insane how good we have it here in Detroit.
Yep.
Let's go.
How much time
All right,
golf
boys.
has? It's crazy.
What's that?
All credit to Brad Holmes.
That's right. All right. So listen, we're gonna get into some of our bold takes from last week real quick. Adrian on the
Oh,
board
man.
with 5 sacks. How'd you do with that, Adrian?
5 sacks. I was no, I was not even close. Where's the buzzer?
Let's go.
All right, there we go.
Okay, that didn't work. Okay, so Plax actually knew he was wrong the second he worded this out of his mouth. He said the Packers are going to score 14 or less. How'd that work out? Caleb's. Oh man, I was so close to getting mine, but I'm glad I didn't. The Packers win due to injuries.
No, that's a cheer. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a cheer. And Clay, he put 2 touchdowns for Laporta.
I meant Tim Patrick. My bad.
Oh, did you say Tim Patrick?
Yeah, that's what I said.
No. All right, and I don't have what our Packer buddy Ryan said, but I think. Do you guys remember?
He said they were going to win by 3 possessions or something. Like they were going to blow us out.
No. Calm down.
3. He just got 3 drops right on his face. Hey, yo. Oh yeah, I love that one. Thank you, Emmanuel Mosley, coming in with the hot drop. All right, so let's clear the board. What do we got this week, guys? We got
The Buffalo Bills, bro.
Buffalo Bills Sunday. So they can't bump it to Monday, right? It's officially Sunday, 4:25.
Correct. I think it's too late to bump it. They had a chance to do it. They didn't end up doing it. So it stays at 4.
What say you, Adrian, for the bold take of the week? Got to be bold here.
This is a tough one. Okay, I don't know how to conceptualize it, but I think that the Packers game is going to turn out being more difficult than the Bills game. That's my bold take. But I'll think of maybe a number to put behind it. But when we look back, we'll think that the Packers game was harder than the Bills game was. So I am thinking the Lions win. I'll come up with some kind of stat. So
okay, so you're quantifying that it's not going to be a 3-point game won by the buzzer. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I'll say then yeah, that's a good way. The score is going to be greater than 1 possession. So
okay,
9 points.
That's not really a bold take though. We'll
The
come back
Lions
to you
won by 9 points or more.
Whoa. 9+ Lions win.
9+ Lions win.
Holy cow, bro!
Bold take.
I'd drive to Clay's house and hand deliver that merch myself. All right, Clay, what you got, baby?
I'm with Adrian. I think the hardest game of the year so far is behind us. Last Thursday against Green Bay. And with that, going with that 9+ advantage win, I think we just talking about Lions being 4th down. That's our game. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be going for it on 4th downs more than the Lions in this game.
Ooh.
I think there'll be more 4th down attempts by Buffalo.
Spicy.
Yep.
That is bold. Bills go for more 4th downs. All right. I think you're high. We'll try. Emmanuel Mosley, what you got?
Okay. Running game. Let's see. Could we potentially see Jahmyr Gibbs run for 2 touchdowns, but could they be more than 40 yards?
Oh, Jahmyr plus 42 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's bold. That's ice bold.
So both of them. So yeah, Sonic and Knuckles will get the ball the most of the time. So it's gonna be a big, heavy running game. I could see them having both 2 touchdowns. I've never seen that happen before. So if it does, that'd be the craziest bold take of mine.
Yeah, you got
More than the Cowboys game.
I mean, I can see that. The Rams were running it on the Bills.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right.
Good take.
I will bold take. All right, so Clay went with 2 touchdowns for Laporta last week. I'm going 2 touchdowns for a guy that we haven't heard of score in a while. Waymo. Waymo. All right, 2 touchdowns from him. And if I were to make it even bolder, I would say one of them's going to be something like
Yeah.
Ivan said, like one's going to be a 40-pluser.
Nice. A house call.
All right. So it's on the
Nice.
board, boys. It's on the board. All right. So what did we forget? Got our speak.
I do want to talk about Ford Field real quick.
Yeah, come on, give it
Yeah,
to
bro.
us.
How was it?
The atmosphere, I mean, I think we've all seen it definitely before. I mean, from Patricia's era and before. The stadium just gets scared. Even if you're up by double digits and the other team scores, like the stadium feels it before anybody else does. And the stadium just gets quiet. The fans feel it before the players, and then it happens, right? But I think the stadium just gets louder as more when Packers came after halftime and scored and then got the interception and scored again, the building got louder. Like there was no fear in Ford Field is just it's insane, man. I love it so much. Like Ford Field is what it was meant to be when they first built it. Like it's so great. And the fans are so great. But I will say one thing though, is these halftime shows, Ford family, they're awful. Like we have all kudos to the high school drum line. Okay, you guys are talented, but that is not a halftime show when you have the biggest game of the year. And what happens? Packers come out and have a great third quarter. So come on, Ford family. We have some legends in Detroit. Bring out Bob Seger. Bring the hype in for halftime, man.
Yeah.
Well, they can't do a big performance, can they? I mean, it's only 20, 25
Hey,
minutes.
do something more than drum. Do something more.
Yeah.
Play Eminem for 20 minutes. I don't care.
Amen to
I
that.
like what the Vikings did. They had like these little corgi dogs, and they raced them during the half. It was like
Oh, yeah.
10 or 20 corgis, and they raced them. Like that's exciting. Like I'd watch
Yeah,
that.
something. But when you're listening to a drum line, man, you're just talking, and then the air just leaves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like-
You need Ivan out there running
Yeah.
running with the corgis. All right, so listen, we never got into the game ball, so we want to tackle that right now. Who's your game ball, and then who's your fumble? So Clay, I normally start with you since you were there. You had eyes on the station. Who gets your game ball?
My game ball is Montgomery. Just the concentration for one play. It was a 4th down play. Goff hits his knee, and that guy does not lose control. He gets the ball, perfect handle of it, doesn't bobble it, executes it to perfection, and gets the first down. Just great. You can give it to the whole offensive line that play too, but Montgomery for just keeping concentrated on a play that could go on very, very wrong.
For sure, bro. For sure. I think we're all going to get different ones here. What about you, Ivan? What say you? Game ball.
Can I say 2 people? So if it's a player, it has to be Jared Goff. So specifically with the handoff, that could have been so much of a soul thing that he tripped, and for some reason, the ball slips off his hands or it drops too far. They could have recovered it. Game over right there. But the handoff, just that picture of itself, handoff with Montgomery is so cool. They put it against I don't know if you've seen memes recently, but they hanging in the Louvier with different. What is the famous one now with Michelangelo, the hand of God, the touch? Yeah, basically that. But the reason why I picked Jared Goff is because I think just today I was listening to Richard Sherman's podcast. It was actually Jared Goff who made that last call for the 4th down to go for it. And Dan Campbell agreed. He's like, "Oh, you really want to do it? Okay, let's do it. Let's go for it." And he listened to his player, basically his quarterback, and he already knows he trusts his offense. So, executing that, to win this game, means a lot. Because I know Jared Goff is one of our best quarterbacks, but something like that, I would never think he would take the step and hey, let's do it. I believe in our players as well. So.
Dang, that's good insight, man. Thanks
Yeah,
for
thanks,
figuring
I didn't
that
know
out.
that.
I've never
That's
heard
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah, so he's a leader for sure. So besides, being a really good QB, sometimes I'm not saying I question him, but I wouldn't think he would do this, hey, let's do it. Take the next step of
Yeah.
doing
He's got
something like that.
cojones too, man.
Yeah, cojones for sure. My second person is just that fan at the beginning with the.
I love it.
He's
I don't
giving
know,
him a
he gets
game
the-
ball.
I'm giving the
He
game
gets
ball
the
to that
game
fan.
ball
Yeah, the fan.
for getting in his head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I still haven't seen, but they actually interviewed him. I think news channels in the east side of the state.
They did.
I saw just a snippet. So he's a season ticket holder. So when I saw, I was like, man, I would never do that, but him to do it, it's perfect. I was like, give him like lifetime tickets because of that.
Got in his head early. What
Yeah,
say
yeah.
you, Adrian? Game
All right,
ball.
my game ball is easy for me. You know who my guy is. I talk about him all the time. Timmy P, pushing P, baby. Tim Patrick, 2 touchdowns, one of them on 4th down. You know, under the pressure, under the lights. This dude is just so humble. He came off, his story's great. He came off just an injury. Denver Broncos didn't want him. They moved on from him, and he's just put his head down here in Detroit and just gone to work. And he's
He's
huge.
everything
And-
Reynolds is and more. Everything
Yeah.
that we lost to Reynolds, we get, and when we gain some. The guy is
Yep.
fantastic.
He's comparable, like as a wide receiver, but as a blocker, I think he's better. If you watch his blocking, he was there blocking a lot for Montgomery's runs,
Yep.
and so my game ball, Tim Patrick, baby.
And he had a block on the last 4th down.
Yep.
As well.
Yep.
So,
Sewell had the 2 guys, and then Patrick had the other.
Yep.
Yep.
So good call. Good call. I'm gonna go off the board here. A name that I've mentioned on the pod today, but nobody knows him. They don't know where he came from. They don't know if he's human or if he's a cyborg. His name is Zeke Turner, and he made 1 tackle that probably saved the Lions' victory. I wish we could pull up that video right now and see Love take off with the ball, and Turner just turns into Brian Urlacher and just takes down an open field tackle on a quarterback. It was gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Great play.
All right. I'm bringing a tear to Clay's eyes just talking about it
I know.
now. All right. What about that fumble? Let's get into it, Clay.
Oh man, I was so hype about the.
You want me to come back to you?
Yeah, come back to me.
All right. Adrian's always good. Adrian, who fumbled the ball?
Matt LaFleur, easy.
Yeah. We can do that. We can go on each side of the ball. Ivan?
Ooh, the person who actually fumbled, Christian Watson. That was a big takeaway.
Oh, nice.
Didn't we score on that drive too? So once we got the
Yeah.
ball back, yeah,
We did.
So him, but also who was the Jaden Reed for talking a lot of smack and saying when he comes back to Detroit, he would have numbers against us, but didn't. Had completely 0.
That's a good one. I'm gonna keep on that and go off the Packer. McKinstry, he was also talking a lot of trash, saying Amon Ra. He didn't want to talk about Amon Ra because he didn't feel like he was in his league, or he was going to shut him down or something like that. And okay, he got 45 yards or whatever, didn't score, but when Amon Ra went on that block and that guy's helmet came off and the Packer fans were screaming from Lambeau, that's a penalty. Like, hey boys,
He's playing
Sorry.
too hard.
sorry.
Make it stop.
You sound like the Lions of the old 50 years, and you tell us not to be like them anymore, so don't be like that. Oh. All right, Clay, what you got?
I'm gonna say Jordan Love. Like, everybody puts all this thing like, we're the Packers. We always get the right quarterback. Jordan Love had some awful passes, especially one that to a wide open guy that just was a duck. Like, I think I don't think he was what he needed to be that game. He put Aaron Rodgers that same day, that moment, and it could be something totally different. But Jordan, man,
Jordan took a bathroom break.
biggest game of the season so far.
Yep. Got to bring it. Well, they're a young team. They're going to get better. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
scared of us. We're not scared of them. It's going to be a rival. And I love this, guys. We can end with this.
I do love it.
The rivalry that
Yeah.
we have always thought in our Lions' hearts for the Packers, because we hated them and they're like, the king of the division for so long. And it's just so nice to be sitting on that throne now for the past year and a half. and seeing the Packers now looking up, and they're what we were for 20 years looking up,
Yeah,
and
I'm
they
crying.
know it, and
Yeah.
they're gritting their teeth, and they're having that anger that we've had on them, and that's creating the rivalry. There is no
Right.
rivalry when there's a sweep every year, right? Like
Yeah,
Packers
Yeah.
swept us, for years.
right.
But now, just like Michigan and Ohio State, now that Michigan's coming back, it's a rivalry now, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And so this has created a
Yep.
rivalry. So it's good to see.
And on that note, there was it was weird. There was a Bears fan all decked out in Bears stuff, and so I asked him like, "Hey man, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm here with my family." And I said, "Who are you rooting for?" Then he's like, "Can't root for Green Bay, even though you guys just beat us on Turkey Day. Can't root for Green Bay, so I'm pulling for Detroit." So everybody hates the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right, baby.
And I mean, who doesn't love Dan Campbell, bro? Like, even if
Right.
you hate Detroit, you love Dan Campbell. Who doesn't
And
love
if
that?
you're not a fan of either team, you got finally a treat on Thursday Night Football on Prime. Finally, so you're welcome.
Amen, bro. Amen. So
Yep.
listen, before we get up out of here, one last shout out for the pod. Tell your friends about us, like Adrian said the other day. Trying to get our numbers up, trying to get our subscriptions up, and
Yeah.
also if you have the ability to help us out with our recent purchase of our new subscription, go ahead and help us out by sending that donation to the All Grit Pod. All Grit Pod, 2 T's on PayPal. So if you don't have PayPal, get it. Or else just Apple Pay one of us. We'll put it in the foundation for sure.
That's right. Help us grow. Tell a friend, like and subscribe.
Appreciate you guys. We appreciate y'all.
Now, this next week, we got the Bills, man. They're going down.
We're out. This is the All Grit Podcast. Peace.